Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Digital Devo. Shout out to one of my former youth making me this dank leader t-shirt, little frog. So thank you for that. Um, Hopefully you guys are having a good week. We are going to spend the next 2 weeks talking about the tongue. It's a part of the body, but also a part of you that can affect life in many different ways. So let's read from James 3 1 through 5. It says, "Not many of you should become teachers, my brothers, for you know that we who teach will be judged with greater strictness. For we all stumble in many ways, and if anyone does not stumble in what he says, he's a perfect man, able also to bridle his whole body. If we put bits into the mouths of horses so that they obey us, we guide their whole bodies as well. Look at the ships also, though they are so large and are driven by strong winds. They are guided by a small rudder wherever the will of the pilot directs. So also the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts of great things." Now, a really interesting passage here. Um, James gives us two analogies, right? The first one is of a horse, right? They have a little um, bridle, I guess that's what it's called, a little thing in their mouth, and then it's much smaller than the horse, but just by uh, the rider having that bridle in the horse's mouth can control it, make it go left, right, or stop. Or just like a big ship, even though it is a few tons, it is controlled by this little thing called the rudder. Um, I mean, I'm not a ship or a sailor or a sea expert, marine, whatever, but I believe in the ship there's a thing called a rudder that if you move it back and forth, it can kind of guide the location of where it wants to go. And so, all that said, James is trying to make this analogy that even a little thing can impact a bigger outcome. And just as a more recent example, and kind of a tragic example, I heard that some of the forest fires started, right, just with a little fire. I think I heard this, okay, kind of foolish, but these people started a fire accidentally, right? Um, by just they were celebrating something, and then this little fire just started, and then it just kind of took all over. It just kind of took over this whole forest, and a lot of times it can start as an accident, just a little thing. And it's kind of mentioning that our tongue, right, not the physical tongue, but what we say, can be like that, right? It's a little thing, just a little word, or a little sentence, or maybe a little complaint, or if we think about doctrine, right, think about God, maybe just a little false thing said about God. These can impact and become bigger things that we don't want to damage. We don't want to damage our relationships with others, family members or loved ones, or with other Christians as well. And it's interesting. It says James also says not many of you should become teachers because they're going to be judged with greater strictness. And I'm not. I'm going to be honest. I am not um, the best at keeping my tongue. I feel like I've gotten in trouble so many times in the past for what I've said to my friends, or when I was in school, or even from even when I was teaching the youth. I feel like I said a lot of incorrect things. So with that said, that when I read that, I'm like, oh shoot, I need to be more aware. I need to be more careful. But what I think James is getting at here is that we need to be both one, careful, discerning what we hear, because there is a lot of false messages out there, right? And then two, if we do ever teach other people the Bible, whether it's youth or kids or other members, evangelizing, let's be careful what we say, because even the slightest little misinterpretation, people can take it and they can um, believe what they want to believe, right? Not about the whole gospel. And so that's something that I think I need to be aware of, as well as everybody else. Be aware of, hey, when a preacher or pastor is saying something, are they saying things that are from the book of the Bible? Are they saying things that glorify Jesus? Or are they just talking about self-help and happiness and just fix your life? You're great. Well, like they don't, they avoid certain topics. So be careful to just discern that. And for you, when you might teach, if you're a parent and you teach your children, or if you're a youth and you want to share a message, just be careful and just realize, hey, is what I'm saying actually going to reflect what God wants, right? Who God is, not just talking good about me. And so I hope that's a little bit of a reminder for all of us, just about the tongue. Just like we have, and James even admits, we all stumble in many ways, and none of us are perfect. So let's just be aware of that. Be using our mouths to glorify God, especially when we talk about His Word, and be discerning as well. So hopefully we can be a little bit careful this week in watching our mouths and our tongues and our attitudes. And hopefully you have a great week. Thanks.